Okay, real excited to have game week here, getting ready for Kent State, our first game here at home. Honestly, we don't know a lot about them. They don't have a lot of players back. They have a lot of new faces, new transfers, new staff, new head coach. So we're curious to see, exactly what they'll do really in all three phases. I'm really excited to watch our team. We have a lot of information through scrimmages and practice, but there's nothing like the first game. You learn about your team, especially when you have 18 transfers and over 20 freshmen and everything that goes with that. So I'm really excited to watch us play against an opponent. Questions?
Coach, you just kind of alluded to it. You don't know a whole lot about this team you're facing on Thursday. New coaching staff, a lot of new players. What do? Do you go back and look at film of maybe where the coaches came from? So what goes into that preparation?
Yeah, I think it's all the above. But at the end of the day, I think when there's so many unknowns, you do what you do. You do what you do. You adapt. In all three phases, and I'm sure they'll do something similar.
Guys, looking at the depth chart, you got Timmy McClain's backing up John Rice this season, looks like, at least for this game. What did Timmy do to win that job, and what has his performance been like?
Yeah, I think Timmy's had first of all, a really good fall camp. We went live one time with him. That really stood out. Got a good command of the offense. Dylan Risk is going to be a big-time player. There's no doubt about that, and he's right there too. If something happened to John Rice, Timmy's the guy, but Dylan is capable of going in there and doing a good job, we feel like, too.
Coach, what went into the decision on the placement of Bula Schmidt at guard and then Drake at center?
Yeah, they were battling out at center there, for a lot of fall camp, and just decided to go with Drake at center. But Bula was, he's got a great motor. And he felt like, Coach Ham felt like he was one of our top five, But here's what I would say about the offensive line. The guys that are behind them, it's like 1A and 1B. And that's what we're going with this game. I mean, there's other guys that I think before the end of the season, could be playing too. So, but that's good. We kind of talked about that quality depth, but Bula, just his intensity and toughness and everything had a lot to do with that.
You mentioned a couple of times about you want that Big 12, you want that Big 12 depth. And now that you have a couple of scrimmages on tape,
Yeah.
do you feel like you have that ability if the guy gets hurt to have that production keep consistent?
There's no doubt. I mean, we have more quality depth than we've had in any times I've been here. Now we'll see. I mean, like I said, the first game you learn so much about your team, and some guys respond differently in games, and so. But I would say with the information we have right now, really on both lines of scrimmage, we do have, depth and quality depth.
More on the offensive line. Marcellus Marshall's a guy who came from Kent State. I know he's been here since January. What did he do? I know you were looking at him in multiple spots.
Yeah.
He's listed as your starting right tackle. What did he do well?
Yeah, he was real consistent. We felt like, at the end of fall camp and this past week, we felt like he was one of our top five at this point too. And so he was a tackle. He played tackle previously, and he'd been playing left guard. So Coach Hand moved him there, and he's had a good solid week and a half, at tackle.
Gus, obviously you're preparing for this week for football, but there's obviously storms coming up on the Gulf Coast. What is your preparation like? Has it changed things, and are you looking forward to maybe having to make some adjustments?
I think, right now we're staying on course, as is, but we will see. We learned last year we got to adjust, and we're taking it, hour by hour, just like everybody else is. And if we have to adjust, we will. But right now we're trying to stay on course.
One of the younger guys you have in the depth chart is Xavier Townsend. Just talk about what you've seen from him throughout this camp and why you think he's positioned to do so well.
Yeah, Xavier Townsend, he played a lot of football last year, played well, and he was still learning to play the wide receiver position, and now he's a complete wide receiver. He's really confident, and he's had a great fall camp, and he's in a really good spot going into the season.
What do you think this new role change is going to be in terms of running the clock after first down, except in the final 2 minutes? We saw a little bit of action over the weekend. I don't know if you paid attention to how games flowed. How do you think it's going to be on Thursday?
Yeah, well, what they say, they predict 7 less plays a game. I think that's all relevant to, the teams that are playing. I mean, we're going to try to play fast regardless, so, we'll see. I'm sure there'll be a learning experience like everyone else, but I don't expect it to be anything extreme.
Guys, you talked about the newcomers. You've got a lot of talented freshmen that came in this class. You expect, and on the depth chart, you've got some listed at the 2 spot. I mean, you expect to see some of those guys get opportunities to play?
Yeah, those guys are listed on there. They'll have a chance to play. You know, a lot of those guys are playing special teams too. You know, and then I've said this before, but our freshman class, I mean, we hit on all of them, I believe. I mean, I think they're all real players, and they're all gonna really help.
We'd heard Lee Hunter's name a lot during this camp. What did he show you during camp that earned him a starting spot?
Yeah, Lee is, you know, I think he's night and day compared to last year too. He's in great shape. He's using his hands well. You know, he's turned into a dominant type player, you know, through fall camp, and so really expecting that to carry over, you know, in the games.
How has your chemistry evolved, you know, in that game planning situation with Addison and Darren? How's that process been going ahead of game?
Yeah, you know, of course, I'm familiar with both of them already. That helped, but you know, there's nothing like that first time. You know, we're communicating the what ifs of games and things like that, and just trying to be prepared. But so far, so good.
Guys, you talk a little bit special teams. You look at Colton Boomer coming back and all that. What do you see from this group, and what maybe encourages you moving into the season?
Yeah, I think we have a talented group of kickers and punters and returners and specialists, you know, and a lot of experience with that group, a lot of quality experience, and so that really helps going into a new season.
You talked about this first game and then even some of the season being a bit of an unknown. How important is it, and how has John Rice Plumlee kind of grown as a quarterback from last year?
Yeah, you know, I've said this before, it's like night and day this time of year. I mean, he has a good understanding of the overall offense and how things work and adjustments and everything. I mean, he was still learning, you know, where everybody was lining up at this point last year. So, you know, just the expectations are a lot higher. He understands that. He's one of our leader, if not our team leader, and I think that's important too.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, you've done all you can do during practice. Now you got to play a game and be under the lights, and you'll see some different things on Thursday, won't you?
That's exactly right. I mean, every year, you know, you learn about your team, and that's what I'm excited about. I want to see how our team responds to success. I want to see how it responds to adversity. I want to see how close we really are. We've said before, I mean, we strained our group in fall camp, you know, to bring them closer together and to make sure that we are all together no matter what happens. So that's really what I'm excited to see.
Some conferences, the Big Ten, they're mandating injury reports to be released prior to a game. It may be a trend that picks up. Just what are your thoughts on potentially going that route?
You know, I think you see all the changes around college football, and I just think from my standpoint, you know, you just, whatever the rules are and whatever they say, you do it. I mean, so if it ever happens in our conference, it is what it is. You just got to adapt, and I really think this day and time, the coaches, specifically the head coaches that can adapt to everything that new and coming at you, you know, I think they'll have an advantage.
Guys, you look at the defense. What sort of mentality do you want to see out of that group? You've got some experience there. You've got some new faces. What would you like to see that group accomplish?
Yeah, I think it's toughness, aggressiveness. I mean, get after people. I mean, that's really been what we've been talking about, playing a good physical, hard nose, you know, stop the run and get turnovers. I mean, we really focused on getting turnovers and getting after the quarterback, you know, better than what we did last year. You know, so far so good. Now we've got to prove it on the field.
Players mentioned during media day missed opportunities, especially in turnovers on defense. When you look back on last season, did you see that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, yeah, there was those missed opportunities. But like I said, you know, we've got to get after the quarterback. We've got to make a quarterback uncomfortable, and when you do that, that's when turnovers come about. And so in fall camp, you know, I think the defense really focused on that, and I think they did a solid job. Just got to carry it over and see what happens, you know, Thursday night.
I see R.J. Harvey named the starter running back. Just overall at that position, there's a lot of experience there. He was a promising guy. What did you see from that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it starts with him and Johnny. I mean, the other three running backs are phenomenal in their own right, but you know, those two guys have played a lot of football, and you know, like I said, there's a good chance you'll see all five of them, you know, on the field. But I think it starts with R.J. and Johnny.
Guys, did you have a chance to watch any of the football this past weekend, or first weekend? Or?
No, I flipped over. Golly, I don't even know. UMass, did they play? Yeah, UMass. I saw one series, but I'm focused on what we're doing, to be honest with you.
What's the dynamic going to be like on Thursday in terms of up in the booth? Is Darren obviously up top, and you have a good, is that something you practice with scrimmages, the communication?
We sure have, and in 2017, you know, at Auburn, it's really a same blueprint as we did. Chip was up in the booth calling plays, and I'm on the sideline, so it's going to be really just following that same blueprint, and we've had our scrimmages that way, and so we're prepared.
I know it's game week, and I know there's this storm to worry about, but as a coach, do you get those butterflies, or what kind of goes through your mind that you put in all this work over the offseason, and now the game time's almost here?
Usually for me, it's the last 24 hours that you can really, you know, it kicks in. You know, it kicked in right at the first of fall camp, and then probably 24 hours out, it usually kicks in. But, you know, you're in work mode and routine mode, and, you know, just ready to get the first game. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.